weird. But we're doing it right now. This episode of Lords of the Storm is brought to you by our sponsors over at Patreon, where you, yes you, can also support the show. Just head over to patreon.com/Lords of the Storm to become a patron today.
Greetings, mortal. That's kind of frightening.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 102 of Lords of the Storm. I am your host, Greg Parker, a.k.a. Gizmozord, but you can call me Gizmo. And, of course, I am joined this evening, as always, by none other than Mr. Kevin Ellis, a.k.a. Multizord, and Ryan Reeder, a.k.a. TBK Zord. And do we have a show for you? Yes, we do. Facebook invades the Nexus. Are we in a salt-filled meta? And the newest patch drops. But, of course, we're going to give you the latest on HGC and discuss the last week outcome of Lord of the Draft 2. But first, let's see how the other Zords are doing. Multi, how are you doing tonight?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well. How about you?
Doing all right. Doing all right. Got some games in with some of the other Zords tonight. They're getting back in for the WoW mount, at least.
That they are. So yeah, it was fun.
We got to make sure they stay. We got to wrap them up. With a little octo grab now that he's back and do that. Yeah. And TBK, how are you doing?
With a vengeance.
Yeah.
Oh, I am sick.
It's been a while since one of us was sick on this show, I feel like.
I know. It snuck up on me last night, and I knew I couldn't stay away from getting it for too much longer. So finally here. So my diet consisted of hot fluids today, either in soup or cider form. So it's been a liquidy day.
Sounds like it. Yeah, there's a ton of stuff going around, and whatever this latest strain of the flu is, I don't know if that's what you've got or not, but it's apparently resistant to the vaccine as well. So that's exciting.
Of course. I mean, why wouldn't it be?
I actually had that last Tuesday. But it was just like a 24-hour thing where I just felt like I was run over by a truck. It was pretty awful.
It's been mostly like I fell over and I'm on the curb and I haven't been run over yet.
Just curb stomped?
Yeah, I just curb stomped. So I'm crossing my fingers that it's not the run over type and that I'll feel better tomorrow.
I don't know why this necessarily reminded me of this, but when you were talking about soups and liquids, do you guys remember the restaurant that didn't last very long by AMC 20, Super Salad?
Oh, yeah. It was never that good.
No, it was not.
Nope.
Hence why it didn't last long. It was not soup or salad, Super Salad. It was soup or salad, and it was not good Super Salad. But what have you guys been up to in gaming this week? I know, Multi, I'm surprised here. I just saw in chat, you've been talking about Fire Emblem on the mobile device. You've been talking it up, and now you're uninstalling it?
I'm thinking about it, in part because you just have to sink too much time into it to really get up there, because there are now people who have full teams, full rosters of level 40 heroes, and there's a meta game forming around the arena mode, which is their semi-PvP mode, but it's weird. It's you upload your team into the arena, but then you just play against other people's teams, but it's AI controlling it. So it's not true, turn-based PvP. They didn't build all that into it, which I guess is consistent with, Super Mario Run and some of these other games where you're trying to beat people's times and all that. So I don't know, it would be more fun if it was true PvP. But then on top of it, I'd have to look up the article again. But actually, SwiftZord sent me this today. There's a particular hero that's just super overpowered. It's one of the ranged ones. It's a bow class that can actually counterattack melee characters. So
Vala?
It's yeah, basically. I don't know. So basically overpowered. I'll look up the name here. But so I don't know. It just seems unbalanced. And then what am I really sinking my time in for? To I don't know. So I'm kind of turned off on it. There's new changes coming to Hearthstone, so I think my mobile digital gaming is going to be taken up there anyway. So yeah, but
Okay.
it was cool while it lasted for a week.
Fair enough. Well, what have you been up to in the Nexus lately?
Oh, I tried that Lucio out. Love
Mm-hmm.
him. Just love him. And then yeah, it's kind of awkward. We're going to go over this now, but with the WoW event going on as well, for the mount, you're in that awkward spot where like I really want to try Lucio, but I really want to play some WoW characters too to like work on that. So actually today I got 2 of each in, 2 Lucios, 2 WoW characters. So we're
Okay.
cranking them out.
Fair enough. And TBK, how about you? What have you been up to in gaming?
You know that my only gaming is done in the Nexus these days. It's been pretty good. I've gotten several Lucio games in. I've gotten several in on a lot of the change characters. Murky is super ridiculous right now. Uh, yeah, been having a lot of fun with that.
Okay.
Just mostly been casual this week. Just quick match stuff. Nothing too hardcore. Doing that.
Well, when you're
watching
sick, there's-
HGC.
He's a
There's only so
filthy
much you can
casual
do.
right now because he's filthy with germs. So
full of soup.
and full of soup.
Okay, I'll give you that one.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll give you that one.
By the way,
Alright.
that archer's name was Takumi. It's an archer from looks like Conquest, I think. I don't know.
Okay.
OP apparently. OP.
OP. Well, myself, I have been joining in the Nexus as well. Surprise, surprise. And I've been finding myself, so I'm still playing a lot of Nazebo. And surprisingly, well, I guess not super surprisingly, but I've been playing a ton of Varian. Really having a blast with his tank build right now. Especially whenever I get a Valeera on my team, because that combo is just deadly and stupid and awesome if they work together correctly. But then,
Click, click, click.
yeah,
Yep. And win.
exactly. But also trying out the new Murky. I've been having a blast with him and Lucio, of course. So just getting ready, as we're going to talk about later, team or hero league stuff, but trying to prepare myself for that, but at the same time battling some other stuff. So we'll see. I'm not sure if it's a winning battle or not, but we'll see. We'll talk about it. Let's go ahead and get into the show though. TBK, what do we got going on in store sales?
So this week there's actually a lot going on in store sales. We've got our normal weekly sale of Leoric, the Vicryl Leoric, and the Butcherlisk, which is an amazing butcher skin. So pick that up if you like it. Of course, Lucio is now in the game, so we have the Ribbit Lucio bundle, which is
Yes.
a pretty sweet Lucio skin. I really like that. Love is in the Air bundle, which is the new Love Goddess Tyrande. And the classic Love is in the Air bundle, which is the Love Bug and Uberak and the Love Dr. Morales, which is pretty cool. We also finally got another price reduction. So Kerosene was reduced to 7K gold and 849 real money. And then Warbear and Cyber Ram mounts are now available. And they will be replacing the Magic Carpet and the Marshall's Outrider. Also, as Multi mentioned, we have the For Azeroth event, which will get you more mounts in every game. If you complete 15 Heroes of the Storm matches with a friend while playing a Warcraft character, before the event concludes, then you will get this really sweet Primal Flame Saber mount in WoW, and a 10-day stim pack and Flames of Judgment Charger mount, which is basically kind of like a recolored Judgment Uther mount inside of Heroes. So that's pretty sweet. That runs pretty much February 14th through March 14th. So you got plenty of time. There's tons of people doing this right now. So just check one of your favorite in-game channels. You'll find somebody to help you out with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and of those 3 things that you listed them in order, in descending levels of interest, because the mount that we get in Heroes is not that exciting, folks. At least to me. I don't know. It's just the Judgment Horse with flame feet, and
I kind of want the Primal Flame Saber in Heroes.
Yeah.
I know, or like something extra cool. I mean, I know this was a cross promotion to kind of bring WoW players into this game, which makes sense, and it's totally fine, and it's totally working for the record, at least when you check out my friends list. But But man, I don't know. The horses, maybe it's just me. It's a bias. The horses are my least favorite. The only cool thing you can do with them is carry them around with Cho'Gall, and I guess it's worth it for that. But
Prediction: Season 4 mount reward is going to be the Elemental Saber because look at that thing. It has the spikes,
oh
It
yeah,
has
and they're
spikes.
just going to add more to it for the epic mount.
yeah, and we have the Fell Saber model in the game now, so
Yeah, that's it. Season 4.
you may be onto something.
But very important to note here, just if you didn't catch it, because I wasn't paying attention to it for a long time, you do have to play these 15 matches as a Warcraft hero. But again, they're
Right.
having a lot of Warcraft heroes in the free hero rotation if you don't necessarily own a lot of those. I mean, I don't know if you know this, there's not many Warcraft heroes in the Nexus. People have
No,
been
not at
complaining
all.
about it for a while, asking
a
for
few.
more. So hopefully we'll get some more in there. We'll see. We'll
Probably
see.
like 10 in a row, I think we
Yeah.
should have next.
It sounds
Well,
good.
it's not only that you
Least.
play as Warcraft heroes; it also has to be with a friend too. You kind of alluded to that earlier, but just
Yes.
party up, join our Discord, find someone. I'm sure there's channels, like you said.
Mhm.
Find a friend, a real life friend. Do it.
Do it, which is going to get a little easier, which we'll talk about that in a second. But first, Multi, what do we got going on in the free hero rotation this week?
Actually, free heroes is really important this week. I had actually our guild leader in WoW is hopping over to do this to get them out, and because he really doesn't play heroes at all, even though he's been a Zord and a friend for many years. So he actually legitimately hit me up today with like, "Hey man, who are the free heroes this week? Who are the WoW ones that I can get in there and do?" And so for all you people in that exact same spot, this section is really relevant this week. So it is Malfurion, Vala, Diablo, Alarak, Sylvanas, Greymane, Rexar at 5, Varian at 7, Uther at 12, and Nova at 15. Now, if you go back and look at the WoW ones, you got Malf, basically one of the best supports in the game, if not the best support in the game. Can't go wrong there. Kind of easy to pilot for your WoW friends that aren't the best at just these types of games necessarily. Maybe they've been a healer before. They can hop on and try it there. But really, if you're just going to try to crush out games, Sylvanas is just never a bad call. Just encourage your friend to not use the Haunting Wave for offensive purposes and try to teach them how to escape with it. You'll be all right. Also, you can crush those games out as AI, although, I mean, I don't know, if you're trying to get your friends hooked on the game, you might as well bring them in against real people. But I mean, obviously, Sylvanas is the way to go to crush that out because you just
3.5
get
minute
everyone
games.
in mid lane and exactly.
Push mid, do your thing.
Push, and rake in the kills, and so that is perhaps the most efficient way.
Yep.
But anyway,
For
good
sure.
lineup though overall.
But yeah, speaking of playing with some friends, getting new friends into the game, has recently been announced that the Battle.net has merged with Facebook here, and you can connect your Facebook account, so you can see all of your Facebook friends who play any Blizzard game. It'll show you can request to add them as a friend. This has some strong feelings from a lot of people. And I will start with this. I think this is a good idea overall, but not yet. They need to do two things here. They need to, if they're going to do this, they need to get rid of a minimum or a maximum amount of friends that you can have. Take that
Agreed.
away, and then also
Agreed.
be able to sort friends, because it's awesome right now. I connected it and saw a ton of people I know on Facebook that I haven't been in contact with for years that are there. Granted, are they still playing? Who knows? I don't know. And another issue is I don't believe, I haven't tried, but I've seen people complaining that you cannot take this away. You cannot deconnect from it right now. Maybe you can do that if you go into like Facebook settings on Facebook, but the issue it's causing for a lot of people who have their friends maxed out already, and B, I don't think you can even get requests when your friends are maxed out. And the issue, a lot of people that are complaining are streamers, podcasters, players, because again, I just cleaned out my friends list. I try and do it like once a month of people who just don't play anymore. But it makes it really hard because I love playing with people. But I'm at the point like I can't. I get a lot of friend requests, but I can't accept them, and it makes me feel bad that I can't accept them because my friends list is full. And so now like I
Right.
log in and have like 4 or 5 requests each time. And it's like I don't want to have to pick and choose. So just please, Blizzard, there's no reason to have that, max limit on the amount of friends you can have. Just please take that off.
Or at least raise it significantly. I mean, 200
Like
is just not that
500.
much. Yeah, 500 would be a little better, but yeah, agreed.
Yeah.
And I'm in a similar boat too. I mean, I'm actually just right about to hit the cap, and I haven't really done much cleaning yet so far, but I'm about to. So I'm pointing this out to our listeners too, because actually a lot of my friends on the list are you guys. So, I don't want to defriend anyone that listens to this show and wants to hang out and play games. So if you happen to stop seeing me get on as much and I accidentally cleaned you out, just send me a message on Discord or Twitter or whatever, and I'll get you back on there.
Well,
But yeah, I was just about to clean them out.
that's one of the reasons we have the in-game channel set up right now, because like if you
That
see us
too,
on in
yeah.
there, if you send us a friend request, again, I may have not even seen it at some point because my list was full. So like that's the best way to get in a hold of us. So it's not, we're not deleting you because we don't want you on our friends list or not accepting you because we're ignoring you. It's just it's difficult right
exactly.
now. So I don't know, TBK, what are your thoughts on it?
Well, for better or for worse, it seems like Blizzard's going all in on Facebook. I mean, we're seeing this from here. We're seeing the Facebook integrations. We're seeing the pretty much exclusive Heroes of the Dorm
Yep.
Facebook right now. It's actually being broadcast right now on Facebook to several hundred people, which is, I don't know. I watched a little bit of it. The quality is definitely not as good as Twitch. The chat is for sure not as good as Twitch.
I mean, is Twitch really that good though? The Twitch chat?
Just from a history perspective and just being able to follow the flow.
Yeah.
If you watch the Heroes of the Dorm thing in the small screen on Facebook itself, you have to deal with little emoji things flying across the screen.
Oh yeah.
Even if you swipe the chat away?
This is just like going to facebook.com and going to the site and watching the video.
Yeah, but I feel like if you swipe the chat away, because typically when you watch a video on Facebook Live, if you're on a mobile device at least, it has like the chat taking up half the screen. But
Oh,
if
this
you
is
swipe
this
that
is just
right,
the web page.
oh, okay, yeah, that's annoying
this
if
is
that's
just the
still
web page.
showing the emojis.
So like, and even if you have to swipe the chat away, like, what if I want to still see chat but don't want to see emojis?
Yeah.
Are there settings for this kind of stuff? I haven't really dug into it enough.
It doesn't seem like there's a ton of customization, honestly, and I don't know. And the stream quality definitely is not as good as Twitch. There's not as many options. I don't know. It's Facebook's streaming service platform still has a long way to go before it catches up with Twitch's. And it feels like Blizzard's starting to go kind of all in. They got the Facebook streaming now from the Battle.net client. They're doing the friend integration. They've got the dorm streaming now on that. So I don't know. We'll just have to see where it goes. I'm not super impressed with it yet.
Yeah.
But we'll see.
Yeah,
I think the big thing is going to be how does like the round of 64 / the big finals of Dorm go. I think that'll kind of give us a really good idea where it's at. But as of right now, I'm not super sold on it.
Yeah, and I mean, let's be honest here. Facebook, they have the money to invest in this if this is a direction they are wanting to go. But if it is, they need to do it because they run the risk right now with all these things. They're trying to get people over here for Heroes of the Dorm to test the waters. But if the emoji thing and the stream quality, if that's lacking, people are going to watch it, not like it, and then go back to Twitch. Like, you need to leave good first impressions on this when you're trying to get into the streaming industry, and right now it's not. So yeah, like I don't have a problem.
Yeah, I don't want Dorm to fail because
Right.
the finals got like 1,000 or 2,000 people watching because people just hate the platform. The platform's not that good.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
And in chat, Raffle saying you can disconnect via the account management page. So that's good to know, at least if you're just getting spammed by stuff now.
And that's the Facebook account
That is the
management?
Facebook.
Yeah.
Yes, Facebook account. So that's what I figured, because you can go in and disable game notifications and whatnot.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So do that if you want to. It's a good way to see which of your friends are closet gamers on Facebook. Nobody knew. Well, now they
That
do.
was kind of fun to
Yeah.
get on there and be like, oh, I didn't know Kiva played. Like, that was fun.
I will say, I don't know if Stess ever listens to this show, but Stess, you kicked me off. You deleted me from your friends list, and I'm very upset about it.
Tank Zord, co-host
Yes.
of Cavalry.
So
Well, I'll
unless
bring
you
this
have
up for
two
him, for sure.
Battle.net accounts, you jerk.
He actually does, but that's beside the point.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, next up we have here on Reddit. This was posted a few days ago by I'm Bad at Video Games. He's talking about the salt meta right now. So it's a very interesting thing. He goes into several points, but TLDR for each of these sections. Ranked, he went in and he took a break between season 1 and then like halfway through season 2. And he said before he left, people were helping each other out in ranked. They were coaching each other, communication. And now when he came back, he was upset because it was a lot of toxic people and flaming and, just not nice things, not communicating. And it was hard to play.
Not good game quality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then same thing kind of in quick match, how it used to be a thing to go in and test out new builds, test out new compositions. And now people are getting really upset, telling people to kill themselves or just feeding after they lose the first objective. So that's kind of turned into what it's not supposed to be. Talks about how now is not a specialist meta, and people get mad when people play specialists. So it's turning the game into a very toxic environment, and he thinks it's going to hurt the game overall, which I would agree with. I don't, in my personal experience, and maybe I'm just very fortunate, I honestly, as far as people, telling other people to kill themselves and stuff, since I've been playing this game, I can probably count the times that has happened on one hand, thankfully. That's not saying there hasn't been toxic people, there hasn't been, smack talk and just things that shouldn't be said. But as far as going that far, it hasn't happened very much. The specialists and quick match and stuff, I don't really see much hate in there. And again, maybe this is just a fortunate thing. Ranked is really where I see that. And even so, it doesn't happen all the time now. So I don't know what you all's experiences are necessarily with that. TBK, I know you have just been playing Heroes of the Storm alone pretty much. So have you been experiencing this more so than back when the game started?
Well, I've got a little rant.
Okay.
I've got a little TBK rant. So this should be interesting. So part of toxicity is when a game has a smaller community like Heroes has had for a long time, you'll naturally have more camaraderie, less toxic people. Especially here in the past 6 months, since the game was rebranded, since they've been doing a lot of cross-promotion stuff, the game has grown quite a bit, noticeably. I mean, especially now during this WoW crossover event, my quick matches are literally like 30-second queues.
Yeah.
Like it's been absolutely insane how fast I've been getting in, which is great. Right, but at the same
except
time,
for the fact that there are 2 Lucios and 2 Murkies in every game, but that's beside the point.
That's beside the point. That's a whole nother ball of wax. Yes. But yeah, so it's been great. More people is good. At the same time, when you bring in more people, you will inevitably bring in more toxicity. Heroes as a whole, as a game, limits this in a lot of ways, simply by there's no cross-team chat, which is fantastic. It's team-based, team XP, team levels, so there are no kill stealing or anything like that. You can technically turn off allied chat. It's not something I like to do, but it is there as a last resort. You can mute people individually by hitting tab and clicking the little mute button. Or the little mute bubble next to their name. That's a really good thing to do too. But it definitely can be frustrating. I think I feel part of the problem, and this is kind of a whole nother section on its own. We've got a lot of returning players right now. And a lot of these returning players can get easily frustrated. And I think one of the big problems we have right now, and it may in some ways be causing toxicity, is that there is absolutely zero MMR decay in this game right now.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely none. And so you have a ton of people coming back. And this is a MOBA. If you've been out of playing a MOBA for more than maybe a month or two, and in some ways I'd say even that's a long time to not have played a MOBA. If you're out for more than a month or two, you probably have no idea what's going on. You may know the basics from when you played last time. You may know a few of the characters here and there. There has been so many characters added, so many balance changes, so many new maps,
reworks,
so many reworks added that I feel like part of what may even be a contributing factor to some of this toxicity is all these players coming back in and then getting thrown into the ranks where they were at before.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen this personally with friends of ours who haven't played consistently in months and months, doing their 10 Hero League games and getting placed in like Diamond 4, Diamond 5.
Yeah. And
it's just like they may have been there at one point, but when you come back into a game and not having played 4 or 5 months and then you get placed there, that not only can potentially add to the toxicity of an environment, it can also add to the unevenness of games when you have a Diamond 4, Diamond 5 player who probably is much lower just due to their knowledge level of the game that they miss so much, and they're getting thrown in with people who are actually supposed to be at that place too. So I don't know what you guys' thoughts are on that as well as it relates to this, but I feel like that is a big problem this game has in a lot of ways, where it doesn't have any system in place for that.
That turns into a whole big discussion about just the ranked experience in general and just what this whole grind is all about and what we're striving for. And so I kind of want to cite, I listened to the episode of The Instance between Scott Johnson and Patrick Beja, and they had this whole big discussion about just competitive play and the direction Blizzard's going with in general. It was really awesome. You guys should check it out if you haven't yet. I don't think it's something that expires. You could go back and enjoy it at any point. That stuff isn't old news or anything by now. But the point is, at one point they mentioned that perhaps the ladders are here not necessarily to give us a carrot to chase, although that's there certainly, but maybe it's also here as well in part to just give us good matches, place people where they should be, and just, I mean, if someone gets in gold and they're stuck in gold forever, then perhaps they argued maybe they belong in gold, and it's giving them good, even matches and that sort of thing, which I get that too. But this is where that breaks down. To your point, if someone's been gone for a long time and then they get back into Diamond and they just don't know the meta, don't know any of the heroes or anything like that, then that throws, like, if that is the philosophy behind the ladder, at least to a point, it throws a wrench in the whole thing, which is quite odd. And I don't know if we have a good fix for it right now.
It really does. And I hope they're listening to the podcast and they're like, "You jerks are saying we shouldn't be in Diamond." No, that's not what we're saying. They're both fantastic players mechanically. They're just not used to the hero changes and meta and stuff right now. But even one of them who we were playing with just before the show, literally afterwards was just like, "Man, I hate heroes so much. I'm just constantly getting my face stomped right now." And that's because
he is good.
Yeah, and it's just because he's getting placed against higher players. But decay is one of those. It's a tough thing to implement without upsetting a lot of people. It's like, at what point do you start the decay? How much does it decay? How fast? And I don't know how hard it would be to implement a system like this, but like my thoughts would be almost like if you're away from the game for a certain amount of time, you get placed into like a placement MMR to where it doesn't necessarily decay and stay there, but lowers you down a little bit sees how you're playing. Okay, you're still playing good. Let's bump you up a little bit. Okay, you're still doing well here. All right, bam. Now you're back where you were. Obviously, you didn't lose anything. You've kept up on the game. So we're not going to make you climb all the way back up there, because people have to leave the game for various reasons.
Yeah.
And so it can be frustrating.
You don't want that system to be overly harsh.
Exactly, because you don't want them to come back to the game to find out, oh, now I have to climb my way back up. It's not even worth it, and just leave again. So it's a tough thing to do, but I do think that is kind of involved in this toxicity, along with the fact that this is a MOBA. It is growing. There's players coming from other games that have more toxic environments. So I think the number one thing to fight this, and this may sound cheesy, but is just us as a core community not getting involved in that. We are still the majority of the player base, and a lot of toxicity and why people like doing it because they're anonymous behind a keyboard is because they can rile people up. Don't feed into it. If it's bad, just mute them. But once we start getting frustrated and then being toxic towards them, that's going to grow on us. We're going to start being toxic towards other people just because that's how things go in this. And that's where things can get really out of hand. So as corny as it may be, let's just, as a Heroes community, let's just do what we've always done. And again, that doesn't mean don't be competitive. Just try and be, and we've had this discussion before, just try and be constructive with your criticism. And I know I'm not, I fail at that sometimes. I get frustrated. I get tilted. But there are those game modes that we can go play whenever that starts happening, like the brawls. So, it's a tough thing. Do you guys have any last thoughts on the topic?
No, that's something that we've preserved pretty well, I think, in the Heroes community so far, is when we were the kind of smaller group playing the game. Yeah, I mean, it just seemed like there was some good camaraderie among us, and I think you're right. We need to just keep building on that. To your point, though, about just muting them and letting it go, I'm not so sure. I mean, the original poster of this Salt meta post, first thing he says is, I don't want to turn off allied chat. And he doesn't ideally want to mute people. He wants to get in there and win the game and stuff. So I would take that a step further to say, not only don't participate in it, definitely don't fan the flames, because it's just going to flare up even more for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can take a second to sit back and be like, all right, well, why are we really losing here? Type up a little blurb about, like, can we get more merc camps? Can we use flit and soak better? If you can just hang back and not overextend as much, maybe we'll have a shot, and that sort of thing. Like, as long as you're not insulting about it, like if they just know that you're coming at it from the perspective of, I want to win this game and have a good experience, then I've been able to turn a couple games around doing that sort of thing too. So, yeah. I mean, it's all about your own personality and what you're comfortable with, of course, but there's ways to fix this person by person.
My philosophy is pretty much, if I start typing, I've already lost.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
Like it's one of those things. If you start typing, if you type something either inflammatory or something not constructive at all or anything like that, and you cause one other or multiple people to start typing too, all that takes away from game focus.
Mm-hmm.
And that is going to lose things for you even faster, or that will escalate a bad situation. Because there's been times I've seen people start typing, and then in the middle of fights or while we're running away or something, the character will literally stop so the other person can type and respond back. Like, cut that off. We don't need that type of thing. If you have to stop your character anywhere to type something, you probably shouldn't be typing it.
Yeah.
Like, that's like, if you need to type something and it's constructive, type while you're dead.
Yeah, that's typically what I do too. But.
That's really the only time you should be typing. Yeah, and so that's the biggest thing. The mute button is there for individuals if you encounter a single toxic person. I try to keep allied chat on because it can be helpful sometimes for relaying information. But for the most part, you should be using pings anyways. Try not to passive aggressively ping. which is basically you maxing out your pings on a single person or a single thing. That's why they up the limit so you could do a 2 or a 3 ping for something super important. But yeah, overall, I'd say just it's so hard because there's no one answer to something like this.
Yeah.
It's really tough.
Right.
And we want the game to grow. And this is unfortunately an inevitable thing that will come with the game growing, because the larger the audience, the larger the potential for toxic people.
Yeah.
But the growth is a net good thing. Obviously.
Yeah, growth is a net good thing, but at the same time, it will bring in new challenges that we maybe not had to worry about as much. And so it's good to learn how to either diffuse situations or keep them from sparking and continuing, ignoring inflammatory chat, not typing back yourself, muting specific people when you need to, using pings appropriately, that sort of stuff.
Mm-hmm. And it's a really tough problem for developers, and I don't think there will ever be a solution to it. Yeah, it's not like any developer goes into a game saying, I want to make this a toxic community. And not just MOBAs, but just online gaming in general. Just when you get competitive, you have that anonymity. It happens. So it's just something it's growing pains of the game, but we can do our part to limit that as best as possible. Before we get into the PTR that dropped this week, we have a few Patreon announcements. So I want to give a big thanks to our patrons, new patrons, Tim Lawrence and Bezel. I think he's in chat, so correct me on that. Who have also both earned their honorary title. And Tim, I messaged you if you want to give me your Zord name. But without further ado. You have been deemed worthy of bearing the Zord title. Welcome to the Zord Lords. Welcome to the Zord Lords. Bezel Zord. Bazil Zord. I'll just say it both ways. That way one of those is right, hopefully.
Looks like Bezel, but I don't
Bezel
know.
Zord. Bezel Zord. That rolls off the tongue nice. I like it.
That flows very nicely.
All right, so let's get into the patch here. So, of course, Lucio dropped this week. We talked about him, initial gut reactions about him being in the PTR last week, but we've all had a chance to play him, and we don't need to go too in-depth to the build or anything, but let's just, after a week of playing him, what are you all's initial thoughts? I know mine, since I was able to play him more this week, is I'm still mixed, and I know, by next week when we go into his build, we'll have some more time to figure things out, but some people are down on his overall healing numbers, but I have found by end game, at least, the healing numbers are fine. I think he starts off as a real
Starts off
slow output. Once you get to 16 and you can get cooldowns on your, what's your E?
Amp it up.
Amp it up. Then that's when you can really start pumping out some heals. So it's kind of a slow start, but he's a really fun character to play, really fluid. There's some wonky stuff it feels like, but I don't know. TBK, what are your thoughts after being able to digest him?
I would actually argue that his healing output really picks up at 10. If you go reverse amp, it picks up at 10 quite a bit. He's got a lot of utility. He's incredibly squishy. So vulnerable to a single CC, basically setting him in a position to blow him up. A good Lucio will switch between both of his songs a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's I think that's going to be like the biggest learning curve, is knowing when to switch between your songs, knowing when to use your amp it up to increase that. The wall ride is really cool. I need to use it more. But it's not something that I naturally think about because no other character has anything like that. Which is pretty interesting.
His wall ride is something it's harder to do intentionally, I think.
Yes.
Oh no.
Because
totally fine.
Well, and I don't know. I just need to figure out where the sweet spot is as far as distance clicking
It's a
on it.
pathing thing.
Yeah, because I'll try at this point. Like I'm like, all right, I'm wanting to wall ride. I'm gonna click on that piece of terrain, and then it makes me want to go to the other side, and it's a real
No.
wonky thing. So I don't
You have to
know
kind
if
of click. There's definitely a way. I've started to catch on to it a little bit and practice it a bunch. There's ways to like kind of know the angle you're approaching the wall, and also I click not on the wall itself, but maybe like a couple screen inches deep into it, if you will, so that you can kind of really get in there and know that you're hitting it at the right angle to get it going. It's definitely controllable, and you can change directions mid grind and
that's what.
all kinds of stuff.
I've definitely had some path. Oh my!
You would
Greg,
with that.
I was trying to
Greg.
get in there and interrupt you and say it, but you just every sentence added on to it
Oh,
into a perfect.
fair
That's what
point.
she said. So I
Oh
couldn't
my.
stop. Okay,
Oh
that's
It's a Valentine's Day present to you.
yeah.
Oh, I have had some pathing issues with it for sure. But it's a cool little ability. So I'm looking forward to getting a little better with it. I hate his auto attack. Not just the fact that it does like Tassadar levels of damage, because that's not really what he's about. He has 0 wave clear. Like if Lucio's in a lane by himself, you did something wrong because somebody else should be there. But
Well, Morales is that way.
yeah, I mean, it's not. I'm okay with him having no wave clear. The way his auto attack works though is super weird. I don't know about you guys, but I've had a lot of consistency issues with it, where
Yes.
he will attack a target and then not attack the target you want him to attack, or he'll attack the target once and then switch to a different target without you
Well,
like telling him to switch.
that's probably you getting out of range of the
No,
target.
I
or, like,
don't
moving
think
around.
so because
No.
I thought I was crazy, and then
No,
I listened to
it's
Core. They were having the same experience. So it's something wonky is definitely
I
happening.
think it's something wonky. It's something with his targeting.
But you can A
Because-
target and it shows you the icon of what you're shooting, and it typically sticks to it as long as you're in range and you're not doing a bunch of weird stuff.
It typically does, but Lucio does not.
Ah,
Because his attack range is slightly shorter than his circle. So there's definitely been plenty of times when I've been within my boundary and he switched off of something that I've been meaning to attack. It's also a weird auto attack because at least from what I can tell, he does the burst and then he shoots again. And I'm not sure if he has to finish like a full burst on whatever target he's doing before he switches to the next target. So that's kind of odd as
Yeah.
well.
well,
So
they
I don't
tried
know,
to make that. Go ahead.
I feel like there's something that's off about his auto attack in general. And it'll be interesting to see if it's just the way it's like working as intended or if there's actual bugs or targeting issues or something going on with it because
If there's
weird.
if there's something about the targeting, I'm not so sure on that one. But as far as the feel and whether or not it feels as it's intended, definitely for sure. Because this is, I mean, it was supposed to be a carryover of how his just left clicking feels in Overwatch for sure. And to that end, I really like it. I think it does more damage than your auto attacking Tassadar for one, especially if you're getting in there and like dashing around and harassing people with it. You can actually kind of rack up some damage doing that stuff. And as like a port over from Overwatch goes, it's really interesting because that's kind of how you play him in Overwatch too. You're in there for the auras, but I mean, there's never any time where you're de-incentivized from just spamming your shots, like getting in there, harassing. And in both games, it doesn't do a ton of damage, but it adds up over time. And sometimes you could surprise yourself with some of the kills you're able to pull off and that sort of thing as well. So I actually think the feel of that's pretty cool. And his overall smoothness, the way that you're able to auto attack while doing any of your other things. And, you don't have to stutter step and that sort of thing. The same kind of, run and gun as you go, like we've seen in Tracer and some others, is just fun on him. I don't know. To me, he just feels smooth and honestly the best port over yet again from Overwatch so far, which I think to me speaks well for Overwatch because honestly, it kind of proves that Overwatch is basically a MOBA shooter. I mean, if they're able to bring
Yeah.
these
Oh,
characters
yeah.
over in almost exact one for one copy, this one being the closest copy, except for Reverse Amp, of course,
Yep.
and the talents and blah blah blah. But man, I don't know. I've just been nothing but impressed, and can't wait to play him more.
Yeah.
For sure.
I mean, I agree. I don't think he needs to be a huge damage dealer. It's I don't know. I still think there's something wonky off with the auto attack.
The targeting we need to look into for sure.
Yeah,
Just to,
I'm kind of interested to see where that happens. Also, one suggestion too, I would like for my allies to be able to see my aura and the color aura that I'm using.
true, but
Yeah.
they can't in Overwatch either. So I don't know if that was an intended
true.
thing or.
But the
I-
range indicator would be the big thing.
It would be super nice, especially
yeah.
since there are talents that make the range bigger. And as an allied player, I feel like it'd be super helpful for me to see if he's channeling the heal or when he switches over to the speed, or like, because I've had times when I've been moving over, getting in, having been in heal, and then moving over to speed to kind of show people, hey, I'm here to get you out.
Right, or to let
then,
you close the gap, or
yeah,
anything.
or to let you close the gap. And I feel like it'd be much easier to communicate that if the ally all of a sudden sees, oh, look, I'm in range now of his aura, and he's on speed aura, sweet. Or I'm in range now of his healing aura, sweet. Or crap, I stepped out of the healing aura. Like, that was one of the games I played earlier. This dude would just constantly be stepping out of my healing aura, and I'm trying to shift between different people, and that's part of the game. But at the same time, it's like, dude, you don't have to be over there. You're making this unnecessarily frustrating for me to try and heal you. So that's I feel like that'd be like a quality of life thing I'd like to see.
I don't. I feel like I've seen it at some points, but not all the time. Like, does it show for a little bit whenever like you amp it up? Does it pop up?
Reverse amp shows.
Because man,
you could see your healing numbers. Like if you're being healed, you can at least watch the stream of numbers come on.
Yeah.
But when you're speed boosted, I mean, I guess unless you saw your little speed lines,
little trail,
the trail, you'd have to really pay attention. Or I mean, in the end, it's going to come down to feel. If you're playing on a team with a Lucio consistently, you're just going to feel when you're moving faster, when you're getting the heals, that sort of thing. And like over time, once we get used to this character, people will just kind of have a rough ballpark of where at least the base radius is. But I mean, you're right. There's that quest talent to raise the radius. There's that one where like it just raises the radius quite a bit for amp it up.
Yeah,
that
for
sort of
amp
thing
it up.
too. So like that would be really hard to gauge. That's going to take a long time.
I feel like it would just be a quality of life. Like it would just be something to help your teammates, help me to help you, help me to help you, help me to help you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Okay. And then the last thing here on him, just kind of predictions, because again, it's tough to tell. Do you think he's going to have a spot in this current meta as a solo healer? TBK.
Ooh.
Solo healer, potentially. I think he will probably end up being a little more like a Varian, where you play a little safer with him pre-10, and then you will have the power spike of either sound barrier or reverse amp to help your healing numbers. And then, like you said, 13, 16 bring bigger things, and then 20 brings what I actually consider almost broken healing numbers once you hit 20. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. Dual support, I think he could be very strong. But I think there is a chance we'll see him as solo.
Okay.
Now, for quick match and mid to lower tiers of Team League and Hero League, oh yeah, no, this guy can solo heal. In fact, I think he's one of the better for like targeting, especially if you get that one we were talking about where when you amp it up, you raise the radius of your amp it up as it's going on. You can really keep up a couple targets in a group fight, and I mean you can chain that with your sound barrier and do all kinds of cool stuff. Totally, I think the numbers are there. But as far as like whether it's going to see HGC play as its solo, I mean maybe, but the main problem there is of course his lack of just any cleanse. until he gets that really sweet one at level 20. But that's so late game that it's problematic in itself. But I've actually heard that there's some really cool things you can do with duo support Lucio. I hear that I read a post somewhere. I forget who posted this exactly. My apologies, but that he pairs really well with Morales, in part because he can peel for her with the sound wave. She does a lot of the single target healing that he does, and then he pads everyone else. It allows you to speed more often, and in general, like he's good at giving the speed boost to characters that generally need to stick on to their targets or don't have a good gap closer. Think like Arthas, Dahaka, some of these that just really, really benefit from sticking to their target. And so I think there could be a place for comps like that, but I don't know. Time will tell. But I'm right now.
Having
I'm
an
predicting...
Arthas run up you full speed is pretty scary.
Oh yeah. Well, and even the like basic speed is nice because the game that we did, because you just get that frozen tempest going and they're slowed, you're sped up, like you're always able to like side alongside them and kind of body block and stuff, as long as you're not getting your face bursted down like mine was. But anyway.
And I'm still waiting to see. I think at some point we could see him as a solo healer. I don't know. I haven't seen anything or looked anything up to compare like what his numbers are compared to Brightwing, because Brightwing goes in bursts, whereas his is constant. So I'd be really interested to see what those numbers are. And then I have not watched any Korea games, anything this year, but I have heard rumors that they're running like 2 support, 3 assassin comps. Like no warriors. So maybe
Or
he'll be a
like
big
2
thing over
support,
there.
2 assassin, 1 specialist too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Maybe he'll be a big thing over there. I don't know. Let's see. As far as the rest of the patch notes, there were a few changes that were made from last week. One here, kind of a big deal because I had experience with this. The Butcher, his Butcher's brand, the casting animation has been sped up by 33%, which should reduce instances of canceling it by rapidly issuing other commands. So
that is nice.
Yeah, I have run into
that
before. So that is cool.
Also, minion leash range getting decreased from 10 to 9.
Oh, yes.
This is
again.
huge.
That is huge.
This is so huge because I don't know if they changed something in another patch accidentally or whatever, but those little buggers have been following you way further than they probably should be able to. Like for Dragonshire, for like Warhead Junction, like following you all the way down to the Warhead spawns. It's like, get off me, bro. So they hopefully shouldn't do that as much anymore.
Yeah. Let's see. Valera, the stun duration on Cheap Shot reduced from 1.5 to 1.25. So
I got most of my wish.
Most of it
from last episode.
You wanted to cut silence or the blind too?
I said cut the stun to 1 second. So it's kind of like the little in between. I think it'll help some. It's good. 1.5 was way too much for a point and click.
All right. And then Murky, his Offici Deal Merc talent got a nerf that we were kind of expecting. So instead of 5 charges to gain a charge of bribe and 20 stacks, it's gone from 7 to 30. So a little bit tougher to get. And then Slime Time, after sliming the 15 heroes, increasing the damage, it does not scale with level. So
it's just a flat 125.
Yeah, just flat 125. Yep. And then let's see here. Time to kill, damage per second reduced from 8 to 7, duration reduced to 4 seconds, and slow amount reduced to 8 seconds.
You do mean time to krill.
Time
right?
to krill, yes. Time to krill.
Yes.
But that's all the Murky talents are amazingly named.
Yes, they are.
That's when his basic attacks against heroes deal additional damage over time and slow the target by movement speed by 10%. Stacking.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
So the point is they didn't release him as his PTR terror form, but he's still actually really pretty solid.
Murky is broken.
Yeah.
He's so good. When you have a tweet right before the show, and this is Trixler tweeting this, guys. I can't believe I'm saying this. Maybe Murky is too strong.
Well, okay, the problem with Murky, we've talked about this for, I don't know, it feels like years now. He's just so hard to scale. Like, if they give him too much, he becomes a complete terror and nuisance. But if they don't give him enough, then he's worthless. And so he's got to be really tough for Blizzard to just deal with.
Yeah,
and that's a kid problem.
Yeah, and I had said previously, after he had just kind of fallen out of the meta, that he is just going to be a really tough hero to do that with, because with kind of how gimmicky he is at this point in the game with this many heroes, to keep him from just like insta dying and stuff, it's going to be a good chance he's overpowered. So we'll see if they.
He is ban worthy in Hero League right now.
Yeah,
which is
Like
crazy, but
he is
true.
ban worthy.
for sure.
Like I do it every time that I have ban control since this patch came out. That's how much I hate fighting him right now. He's super fun to play, but there's a reason for that. And that's because he's super strong. Like if you take the right talents, you can literally be a tank right now. It's absolutely insane. We even had a match the other day where we went up against a mostly melee assassin based comp, and with Fish Tank on that, I could tank one of them and win after I got my slime talents.
Yeah, and not only can you be a tank,
Insane.
you can be a tank who can tank until you die and then come
then
back
be back in
16 seconds as a full health tank again, which is ridiculous.
Oh yeah, for the big tuna kahuna, which again, great talent names, Blizzard.
Yep. And
Thumbs up.
didn't I hear that he beats up on tanks too? Like can like solo stitches and all kinds of stuff now, if you play it right.
I've heard I forgot who it was in Discord saying they soloed Stitches, but I'm sure I would believe it. Like, he's crazy right now.
It's pretty sane.
Then some bigger changes coming to Tassadar. So I haven't had a chance to test these out. I'm hearing both nerf and buff.
Right.
So I don't know
It's
what
an
to think here.
overall nerf. A lot of it was just power shift from different stuff. I would say overall he was nerfed in the right places for the most part. One of the big things being Kala's Light, which is the armor on shield after expiration, was reduced from 25 to 15. So that's a pretty decent change. The Archon, oh my gosh, the level 20 Twilight Archon. So it used to be it's basically known as the perma Archon, right? Where as long as you're auto attacking someone, it's going to keep refreshing Archon duration. The crazy thing before was that as soon as you Archoned, the cooldown for Archon started. But with the infinite refresh duration, you could get to the point where you could be up in Archon and then lose it, and then within 5, 10, 15 seconds, Archon again.
Yeah.
Which is insane. So now they changed it to where the cooldown doesn't start until you lose Archon form.
I don't know how I feel about this, because isn't that the way this initially worked? Isn't that how Sonya's
Wrath of the Berserker.
Wrath of Berserker
works just like that. Mm-hmm.
Where you can keep it up until the cooldown's off and then use it again. Because now what this does is late game. I mean, in a team fight, you really don't need more time than what Archon, the timer already was. All this does now is there is no reason after a team fight really to keep that thing going, period, because you want that cooldown to be ticking down as fast as possible to prepare for the next team fight. So really, it kind of just makes it a moot talent to me. Like, I don't ever want to pick that because I don't want to have to worry about, oh crap, I just basic attacked another wall, and now my cooldown is going to, it's going to take longer for me to get that back up. So it was a little ridiculous just because of how strong Archon is. But I mean, that's how Wrath of Berserker works. And if they're going to do that, I think they need to just come up with some other adaptation to
Remember,
it for 20.
Tassadar is not an attacker. He's technically a support character.
Yeah.
And so I think this was the compromise to allow them to keep some of the power in Archon without making it just super crazy late game, which I think is fine. Well, I think that's a fine way to do it because Archon doesn't last that long, and so being able to keep it up for a full duration, I still think is incredibly. I think it's going to be incredibly powerful still, that ultimate, because usually a team fight will last longer than the duration of Archon, especially a late game team fight. And if you're pushing, and you win, you can still use the Archon and the extra strength that it offers to continue the push. So I feel like it's
True.
I feel like it's probably a pretty good change, and I would still take it. I still think it would be very useful.
Yeah, I'll just have to see it, test it out, and see how I feel about it. Because my experience, like the time of regular Archon, while maybe it didn't last an entire team fight, was most of it. And then I still don't think I would want to push unless I knew it was going to end game with Archon still up, because then again you're just increasing the time until you can use it in another team fight. But yeah, so overall, a lot of changes there. We'll see what that does to him. These changes will not be in HGC this week, so they'll have this
it's a new update to the
this
patch.
new kit prior to these changes. So we'll see if we see him in there this weekend.
Gotcha.
Oh,
And there is
we've
some
seen
okay-
them last weekend.
Yes,
We
yes,
saw
yes.
just as many like Tassadar picks and bans as before.
Very true.
It's-
And there are
he's-
some good things built into this, like the basic attack range has been increased from 5.5 to 6.5. That's huge, especially now with the new way that it works with the constant stream and the slow and everything. So, and then there's like force wall cooldown's been reduced by 2 seconds, but then the duration reduced by 0.5 seconds as well. So you could weigh that in your mind whether or not you think it's worth it. But so yeah, you're right. It's a nerf overall, but there's some good stuff built into it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Rexar here got some buffs, flare, cooldown reduction, which is good for the stealthies now, and overall just some talent buffs for various things. So
Yeah,
good stuff there.
I think it'll be good.
Yeah.
I've been seeing a few more Rexars lately.
I have,
which is kind of cool.
I have as well, which is nice. But yeah, that's gonna do it for the patch here. If you guys have opinions on the Tassadar changes, Lucio, anything that happened in this patch, feel free and let us know through Twitter or email, all those cool things, cool places you can reach us. But TBK, what have we had going on just in HGC, and what do we have coming up as far as tournaments? Let us know. Let us know.
Oh, all sorts of fun stuff. The group stages for Heroes of the Dorm kicked off tonight, the 15th, actually. And it's pretty cool because Blizzard brought in some more amateur/community type casters to cast these pre-Rand of 64 teams on Facebook Live, which is pretty cool. So in Virum, Halloran, The Source, and KO. Most people will have heard at least one of those names before, as they've been involved in Heroes Hype, in Chair League, in some of the tournaments that Solid Jake runs. So really cool to bring some of those people on, give them a chance at doing, an actual live studio environment for some of these Heroes of the Dorm games. And those are going on, like I said, now through March 8th. You can check the Facebook Heroes Esports link and watch it on Facebook Live, or you can go to heroesofthedorm.com and watch the bigger screen, not on Facebook. You don't need a Facebook account to watch it. That needs to be set up front, because I know a lot of people were worried about that.
Unless
But
you're
don't need
watching it on a mobile device. I think.
probably
you have to have
I would imagine you'd have to have Facebook.
you would have to be
account.
logged into the
Yeah, I
app.
could see that.
So that would make sense.
So just make a fake one. It's fine.
But yeah, so that's going on right now. So definitely check those guys out as they stream and cast some of the pre-round of 64 teams. It's certain to be pretty good. Bracket play for the top 64 will start March 18th through the 26th, and then of course the Heroic 4 will be finishing up live on April 8th on Facebook and at an unknown location
Still.
as of now. Still, I hope we get it soon. It would be nice to know. It looks like it's only going to be one day this year, though, because if I remember right, wasn't it over 2 days last year?
I believe.
I think it was
seem to
over
think so.
2 days in Seattle last year. So interesting that they're condensing it down to just one live day. It's probably saves a lot of money as far as getting a venue goes, though, just to have it for a day instead of two.
Well, and the production value was pretty big on it last year. It was kind of Mini BlizzCon.
Why watch it be held at like the Facebook headquarters?
Where is Facebook at?
I would
Is
imagine
that
it's somewhere in
California?
California.
Probably, but
I would hope it'd be somewhere that would allow lots of college students to get to it.
Yeah, just somewhere central.
Like
Like
Kansas
last
City.
year, yeah, exactly. I think a ton of great
Crossing
venues.
my fingers,
you know?
Blizzard.
You don't have to
Just
use the
throwing it
Sprint
out as
Center.
ideas, for next year.
we could
Yeah.
use the Sprint Center.
The
though.
Independence
Just
Event
right.
Center would be fantastic.
Bartle
Yeah.
Hall or something, whatever.
Heck yeah.
hmm
Just
What am I
those
saying? I
are
want it Jacksonville.
freebies.
Forget Kansas City.
Freebies, Blizzard. Freebies for next year. Kansas City. Be awesome. But yeah, so Heroes of the Dorm action. Lots of fun stuff going on with that. The Heroes Charity Brawl, which is coming up very quickly. Holy crap, guys.
Whoop,
Next
Did-
weekend.
Did I just whoop whoop? I'm not a juggalo. I don't know why I did that.
I think you did.
I apologize.
Next weekend, February 25th at 2 Pacific on twitch.tv/frogpants, we will be hosting the Heroes Charity Brawl. It will go from 2 Pacific to 6 Pacific, and there'll be a ton of fun show games, prizes, all sorts of stuff. We're over $1,000 donated already, guys.
Yeah,
How cool is that?
it's
A
Yep.
week and a half before we even start, we're over $1,000.
yeah, and
Insane.
I'm super excited for it because I don't remember what we had exactly before it started last time, but I feel like at least 75% of what we had total came during the stream. So if that is what's going to happen this time and trend towards, and I think you guys can do it
Yeah.
because you're an amazing
Love it.
community, we are going to not only hit our goal, but shatter it. And
Yeah.
it would be amazing because, again, this is going towards Make-A-Wish Foundation.
This is for the kids, guys.
for the kids. Do it for the kids.
Indeed.
Do it for the kids.
I will let Kyle murder me over and over again on public, on the internet, on the stream for the kids.
For the kids.
You will let him, or do you have a choice?
There's no choice. It's just I'm allowing that to be viewed.
Yes,
Allow you
that's
to-
fair.
As far as HGC goes, guys, we can kind of give our highlights. I think the big one for me this last weekend was the complete unexpected 3-0 of Tempo Storm by Gale Force Esports.
Well, I mean, it wasn't completely unexpected. Like Gale Force guys brought it, but yeah, no, it was.
I'm pretty sure it was
Sure.
completely unexpected.
Yeah, 3-0.
We had a sub
Okay, fair.
10-minute game 2 with
Okay,
a
that's
Protect
true.
the Hammer comp from Gale Force Esports. Absolutely insane.
Okay, you're right.
Like,
I
they
didn't
played out of their
expect it,
minds.
But I was pleased. I mean, I like both teams for sure. We've had players from either on the show before too, so I mean, there's people to root for on either side. But yeah, it was quite the set.
Which caused now Tempo Storm is still in first place.
Yes.
With Gale Force actually having a better record still, but they're one series down. So it's still, and at this point, B-Step is on a streak right now, but I don't know if they will surpass Gale Force for the third spot. So if a team is going to
cannot.
drop, if a team is like statistically they can't. I haven't looked at the rest of the schedule.
All the spots for the Western Clash
Are
are
taken?
now technically locked.
Okay.
So Tempo Storm Teammate and Gale Force will represent NA, and Dignitas, Misfits, and Fnatic will be representing EU. And then they'll be pulling in another team or some teams from each of the smaller regions as well for the Western classes. So week 5 can technically change seeding, but it can't change the participants.
Okay. And I think those are
Gotcha.
probably the 3 teams from each region that deserve to go, obviously, because they have the top 3 spots. And with this system, it's great for determining those. But I think
And
most
teammates did really good too.
Mhm.
Like, I don't think a lot of people expected them to be here. Honestly,
yeah.
they've really proven themselves.
They really brought it.
Yeah, I think the team we were expecting to be up there is one of the most surprising things of this season. Naventic now in
Yep.
last place, under
Yeah.
No Tomorrow, 1-5 with a 6-17 overall record.
Just mind blowing.
What do you think's causing it? I mean, I feel like they just don't they never shifted out of the meta that they were good in.
Mm-hmm.
That could
Yeah,
be it.
they're still stuck in the team fight meta,
Mm-hmm.
and they're getting outdrafted and they're getting outplayed by pretty much every other team. And I don't know what it is exactly. Some of the other pros have said they don't play Hero League that much, and that's really good for mechanical practice. I don't know, but an event I was stunned the last 2 weeks at
Yeah.
Niventic's play. Like I was utterly shocked at how at where they are right now. I did not expect to see them in the possibly heading towards the Crucible.
Yeah.
Right.
It blows my mind.
Now, we went into this whole deal thinking, kind of worrying that the whole show would be just Tempo Storm, Gale Force, and Niventic. But,
It's
no,
not
yeah.
the case. And last week I still would have said, hey, Niventic, no tomorrow, Crucible, no tomorrow may not make it out of it. I think Niventic will. I don't even know if I can say that about Niventic at this point. Granted, I haven't been keeping up with the Open League games.
There's some good teams in the Open League right now. One of the dorm teams that is highly expected to be in the running to win everything has been dominating the Open League right now. So I don't know. I really want to, at this point, I want to see Niventic really pick it up and show us that they're not down and out. Because this used to be one of the best teams in North America.
It used to be the best team in North America.
It used to be the best team in North America. So it's just like I want to see them succeed, but I don't know what they need to do right now. Like, because it seems like just everything is going wrong with them right now.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's rough. It's super rough to watch their sets.
It is, and they don't have, a super easy matchup this week.
Right.
So.
In general, though, I was going to point out week 4 had a bunch of just really unbalanced matches in terms of just their records this far. I mean, we had like Tempo Storm and No Tomorrow first game, and then we had Team 8 versus Niventic, as we were just talking about. A team that's now 5-1 against a team that's 1-5. This actually happened over in the EU side as well. I'd have to pull it up to see which one, but Misfits 6-0 against B Genius 0-6. Like, that was a 3-0 match for sure. I didn't watch it, but I can't imagine it was that fun. So, like, I don't know, it was just kind of a weird week in that regard.
Misfits dominated. The Fnatic Dignitas game, though, guys, if you haven't watched it and you're looking for some good EU play, that actually went to 5. Fantastic set.
Oh, let's check that one out. Yeah,
there was a Caleris core that kept Fnatic from going 3-0 actually, which was hilarious. And then seeing Dignitas fight back after that, really, really cool set of games if you're looking for some good VODs.
Cool.
Fair enough. All right. Well, yeah, make sure you guys, again, this is the last week before the bye next week for the Heroes Charity Brawl and then the Western Clash. I believe it's only Friday and Saturday this week, correct?
Yes, only Friday and Saturday.
So make sure you check those out. So last week we did, I can do this thing for it. Lord of the Draft 2 took place.
2.
The real important tournament going on right now. You guys have heard about Heroes of the Dorm. You've heard about HGC. It's got nothing on this. Nothing.
It has Lord in the title. Obviously, that's better than anything else.
Right.
But Lord of the Draft 2 took place, and of course, it was Multi's Mayhem versus TBK's Titans, since I lost the first one. However, I had some sweet redemption this time. But before we get into how the match went, just a recap on the teams. Multi's Mayhem was Malfurion, Artanis, Leeming, Tychus, Muradin. TBK's Titans was Gul'dan, ETC, Varian, Greymane, and Rhaegar. And again, just quick recap. This is, we draft against each other and then throw them in Elite AI, and we cast the match, see how it turns out. And TBK, how did that turn out?
Oh, boy.
It was not as good as I was hoping it would be. You might use the term complete crushing. You might use the
Yes.
term blowout. You might use the term
Mayhem. That's what we brought on here.
Stupid
Not
AI.
stupid.
Okay.
We did learn some
This
things.
is
We
we
did,
did.
actually.
So this is really cool, actually. Even though I feel like my draft would have had a very solid chance if it were played by real people. We don't do these drafts to draft the AI. Like, we don't play this to the AI. We actually do these drafts so that you guys can learn stuff, and in sort of as the meta is right now. The problem is, though, when you do that and then you hope the AI will do the things that are in your head. So it turns out, and I feel like as we do more of these, we're gonna learn about a lot how the hero's AI works.
Yeah.
Which will be kind of cool. We found out that Greymane does not go into Worgen form unless he is attacking another hero. So he did not do that.
Like a player hero.
Yes, a player hero. So he did not go into Worgen form at all on the Immortal. We learned that Gul'dan took Reign of Destruction instead of Horrify and didn't use it once. So that was fun. Varian went Colossus Smash, and it turns out he doesn't use Colossus Smash against the Immortal either. So,
and on the flip side, we learned that Li Ming actually does fairly well. She actually works off of her resets pretty well, but she does do weird stuff like just use a partial disintegration beam on a wave of minions and not even finish it or kill the minions with it.
She's got to be able to do something without Calamity now, Multi.
But she could finish the cast if the minions aren't dead.
Yeah, no, there was a couple times where she just zapped minions partially and then walked away. I was like, okay.
Take that.
I think my favorite one was after each Immortal phase, when the Immortal and Multi won the Immortal, of course, both the times it came up.
2 times.
Was it, two or three times it came up, because I didn't have my Greymane going into Worgen form at all. But so the Immortal crashes down in the middle, and it seems like all the AI kind of gathers around the Immortal as it comes down. So most of Multi's team was gathering around, celebrating in victory, and my Rhaegar, every single time, went into wolf form and solo wolf jumped into all 4 of them afterwards.
Yeah.
I don't know if it was because he was getting tilted. I don't know if it was because he was mad, but my team started every single Immortal phase 4v5.
Yeah. Yep. And and I misspoke. When he does go in wolf form against AI, just not AI other than heroes.
It has to be enemy heroes.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, enemy heroes.
But
all I know for sure, though, is that Artanis can get some sick swaps off.
Yeah.
That dude was ready for HGC.
He was on fire.
That's the thing about the AI. Like, the AI is going to hit their skill shots most of the time, majority of the time. So another thing learned there. But so that's going to bring TBK's record to 1-1, Multi's to 1-0, mine to 0-1. So next time for Lord of the Draft 3, it's going to be Gizmos facing Multi's Mayhem, and we'll keep this thing going and see who's has the better record. Potential tie up next weekend.
It's our own little HGC league.
It's true.
Right.
As we rotate around and play each other.
Yeah, that's the plan too. Just for people following it long term, is we're going to rotate through so that we all kind of play an even number of games and keep track of our records and that sort of thing. So should be fun.
Yeah, and let us know what you guys think of these. We get a lot of positive feedback for it, but we're still trying to figure out exactly how often we want to do this. To trying to fit it in between other show content. So let us know what your thoughts are on them, and we'll continue to do those. So before we get to some questions and things here, TBK, why don't you hit us with this amazing
yes.
And
it's a little depressing.
Yes.
This week's community content shout out is a little depressing.
It's good though.
Community content put down.
It's fantastic. Yeah, it's fantastic. So if you have not listened to this week's core, I highly recommend you listen to it because Bo does a really good job of breaking down Hero League and doing all the math behind actually ranking up based on your win percentage and where you are now and where you want to be. So what Bo did is he made this really sweet spreadsheet that does all the calculations for you. You basically put in, okay, I'm at silver 1 right now. I want to go to, say, gold 1. So you can put that in on your thing. You can put in how many points, and then you can put in your win percentage, which you should be able to calculate by looking at your past Hero League games for the season and then judging your win percentage off of that, whether it be 51, 52, 60, whatever. And then once you put that formula in, it will then tell you how many games or approximately how many games it will take you to reach your goal.
Not just games, but
In hours.
time
Yeah.
to complete in days, and then time to complete in days if you're playing 8 hours a day. And this is like one of those Steam, like this, I don't remember the website, but you can go to this website and it looks at your Steam library and tells you like, oh, this is how many hours, or, you can make a trip to the moon and back by the time you finish all your games that you have in your Steam library, thanks to all the ridiculous sales. It's one of those type feelings like, oh, man. But I will say it really is awesome, and he did a great job on it because, I've always had a goal that after using this, and it's been frustrating when I don't hit those goals, but after using this, it puts it into perspective, and it helps you. It really puts you into perspective.
It really puts it in perspective.
And it helps you figure out kind of what a realistic goal is. Because again, you don't have to reach your end goal in one season. So it helps it kind of break down into, what do you want to do this season? This is what
And according
you need
to this, it's actually extremely hard to reach your end goal.
Yes.
In one season. Because, I mean, even at a 53 or 54% win rate, to go up one full rank, let's say I'm at Plat 1 right now, and I want to go to Diamond 1. Even at a 53 or 54% win rate, that is still several hundred games.
I mean, just for me, where did it go? I think it was, so I'm gold 1 right now, and in order with I think just over 300 points to my, why can't I think of the name of the match? Promotion match. Yeah. And, with my current win rate, my estimation, I think it was 8 or 10 more games with my current win rate. And that's with me just needing to win 2 games to get that promotion match. So it's pretty crazy. Yeah, it's real crazy.
Yeah.
That's kind of how rates close to 50% work. I mean, 50% is legit straight. You win one, you lose one, you win one, you lose one. And I mean, this calculator doesn't even work for if you have a negative percentage. So it's just letting you put in 51 to 100%. And, people listening to this who don't really track this kind of stuff and know, they're probably sitting here thinking 55%, that's terrible. That's like getting an F in school. But really, it's actually not too bad. And when you consider
pretty good.
They're weighing all the characters in this game to ideally have 50% win rates. And I mean, when you think about, this is something you and I talked about outside the show a little bit this week, TBK, about, how even if the meta shifts to where there's a really powerful comp or character, then they either just get picked or banned. And so you either encounter them all the time and thus have a 50% chance of having one on your team, or you ban them all the time and just don't even see them at all. So either way, no matter how you shake it down, I mean, Blizzard's kind of shooting for this 50%-ish win rate for people, and that's fine. But this is where we get into these issues for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
how we start to feel stuck.
The design of any competitive game is the ideal goal is a 50% win record. So if you're over that, you are succeeding. So I mean, it's good. And I don't want to get into too deep discussion about this, just because you guys really should go listen to the discussion they had on Core.
Sure. It's very good.
So let's get to some questions here. And real quick, we did have an iTunes review by Mr. J Brewer 9976, and he says they are a must follow for all your Heroes of the Storm info. Thank you, Mr. J
Thank you.
Brewer. We appreciate that.
Thank you.
So now we're going to get to some questions here that we have been stacking up on us. Again, we appreciate you guys sending these in. Continue to do so, and we will get to them at some point. Just got to fit them in here. So, Multi, why don't you go ahead and read us off the first one from Gypsy Tramp.
First one's from Gypsy Tramp, who says, "Greetings, Zord Lords. Longtime listener since like episode 15 or so that's cool. First-time writer. This question is mainly directed at TBK, as I know he's a huge Anub fan, but I'd love to get your guys' thoughts. At his last buff, you all seemed very hesitant/unsure about how he's being handled. Now we're a few weeks in, and he is once again at the top win rate per HOTS logs, 56.4% at the time of this writing, which I think was a little while ago. Could one of you check that again, just to see? Anyway, yeah. So, but he then continues, it seems like every time he's adjusted in some way, he's either obscenely oppressive or completely worthless/niche at best. Oftentimes after what seems to be like a completely inconsequential buff or nerf. And in my mind, I'm thinking, like 2 more health, for instance. Anyway, he'd love to hear our thoughts and wild speculations about why this is and what, if anything, could ever be done to bring him into a healthy spot. And then just adds thanks and keep being awesome. So thank you for the awesome question.
Don't worry. He's down to a 55.1% win rate, but still at the top of the charts. And I'm just going to say my mind is blown because I don't understand Anubrak. I don't understand what's happening with him and why he has these drastic jumps. So TBK, if you have any idea, can you please fill us in?
If you look at the actual amount of games played with him, it's far lower than most of the other heroes that are around.
Okay.
It's kind of like, oh, Tassadar has a sub 50% win rate. What? How is that possible? He's picked, in HGC and banned like literally every game. Whereas HGC, 55% of Nubarak, he's not picked or banned once, or maybe he is picked one time. Nubarak is an incredibly situational hero right now. I've actually seen some really impressive Anubarak play in the last few weeks of Chair League that I've been casting. He pairs usually really well with a secondary tank. You don't see the solo Anubarak tank run a lot. We saw it in HGC a few times these last 2 weeks. It did not go well. It technically can be pulled off if you're up against a very heavy ability damage enemy comp. But Anubarak is fantastic as a secondary tank, specifically for targeting those ability damage type things. Or say you're up against a Li Ming, you can soak full damage orbs and magic missiles and such for your team, and it not matter that much at all. Like, he just shrugs that kind of ability power off. He's got an incredible array of interrupts. He's got his Impale, which is an interrupt. It's long range. He's got his Burrow, which can be used offensively or defensively, depending on the situation. He's got little beetles that can block some skill shots from some people, which makes it incredibly annoying to play against him as certain heroes. But again, like I said, I feel like he's incredibly situational. You just have to. He's not going to be high in your pick order. He's going to be picked as a counter to something else that you're against. And so it's probably a lot harder to play and succeed with him in a quick match type scenario than it will be in an unranked draft or a Hero League Team League type scenario.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because it seems like Anubarak players have, like, in fans of Anubarak, never stopped playing Anubarak. They continue to play him. They know how to play him. His kit hasn't changed much. So they just know the situations and when he's going to be successful. And we're at the point where we don't see him enough now. People don't see him enough. Whenever he gets that good draft spot against them, they don't know how to play against him. He does his job really well. That person still knows how to play him. And that's why they're having the success there. So that makes some sense.
Yeah, and you did, I think TBK hit the nail on the head with regard to the small sample size too. Because yeah, I mean, if there's any fluctuation to his win rates, since there's so few games that they're tracking it off of compared to some other heroes, those fluctuations will wildly shift how those numbers look. Like for instance, I was kind of looking at the win rates of certain heroes in HGC the other day. I think it was a couple weeks ago, and I think it was Jaina or someone. Someone had a 75% win rate, and I looked at it, I was like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't know she was that good. And then I was like, oh yeah, but she won 3 out of the 4 games she was played in. So that makes sense. So yeah, that's the problem with sample sizes that are small, is you get these wild fluctuations in numbers. So, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, like for my own
Oh no.
really thought he did his job that well, regards like compared to some other tanks. There was a point though where he was the top dog, and it was because his damage was very high.
Yeah, it was
His
the
like
beetle
the
madness.
beetle build initially, and then yeah, his win rates really did go through the roof there. But since that nerf, I don't know, like he has always been in that weird niche spot.
Mm-hmm.
So
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
but if you like
play
him, play him. Yeah.
Yeah, if you like him and you're feel like you're good at him, or you want to find success with him, do it outside of quick match.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like you'll have much more success when you pick him as a response to something you're building in draft, rather than just say, all right, let's solo queue into quick match. Oh crap, I'm the solo tank and they have all auto attackers. I'm worthless type situation.
Right.
For sure. All right. How about our next email from Freakazoid?
Well, let's see. Freakzord has a question that could be a full discussion, really, but we can go over it quickly. How do you guys think the changes to Team League, such as the group size, has influenced it? And is it better or worse? How has it changed in Hero League? So for me personally, this is kind of like not discussing it in general, but my own personal reaction to it. I'm in kind of a weird spot, guys, because like I like the changes for sure. But I'm in a weird spot where I feel like if you want to take Team League super seriously, you basically have to 5-stack it. So doing anything less feels weird. And then like Hero League, for me personally, I just don't like playing alone. I don't know what it is. I like that it's in the game for sure, and that it's a function and feature for people who really are into that kind of thing. But I mean, for me, just getting on like today when we were playing those couple games together, trying out the new heroes and stuff, like that's where the fun is for me.
Mm-hmm.
And because of that, I frankly haven't played a ton of rank yet this season, just because I'm kind of caught in the middle there. But I mean, I don't know. I like the changes overall. What do you guys think?
I think for me personally, and just my views overall, I think it has made Team League, which was the more serious version, but harder to get into, harder to build a team, the more casual play of ranked play now, and it's made Hero League the more serious. I think it made great changes to Hero League. Now that's just solo queue, because I do think it has eliminated some of the toxicity which came from, okay, I'm solo queuing, but I'm in a group with these two people who are together, and they are very hostile. You have two people teaming up on you now if you're, make a misplay instead of, it's just 5 individuals now. So I do enjoy that. Plus, whenever I played Hero League, I solo queued most of the time anyway, so it puts me on some more level ground there. I haven't done much Team League. Not because I want to take it, super serious and only play it if I have a group of 5, just because when I've been playing mostly Quick Match or Hero League. So I don't know, TBK. I know you've played a lot of Team League in various groups. So what are your opinions on it?
I think this change is overall better for the health of the game. I like the Hero League solo because you are legitimately able to be matched up within your MMR range every time, because there's 0 variation. I mean, they limited the variation a little when you could do some, but an entire rank is pretty wide as far as variation goes. So you could still get some really wacky off-kilter things. So it's super nice to have a league where the matchmaker can look at it and go, oh, phew. Okay, it's just it's just 10 single people. I can do this, guys. I can do this. And so that has led to, for the most part, much more stable Hero League type matches. I mean, you still may have some of the variation, like we talked about with the whole decay type thing, and it not happening as to people coming back in and placing or getting placed higher than maybe they need to be or they should be for their current knowledge level and that type of thing. But overall, I think it's pretty good. And with Team
Except,
League,
go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, except in Hero League, you open up the door of a lot of problems that a lot of games that are team games where you're solo queuing run into, such as like if you want to really push the ladder, is your best bet to just go as an assassin that you're really good at, or a series of assassins, because you can actually rake in some damage and pull off some cool plays and that sort of thing. And then in that scenario, if you get stuck with a support that you're not so good on, maybe you're relying on your partners and that sort of thing. This happens in Overwatch all the time too, for people trying to make the push. It's like you can't get as much of an impact in as Mercy, for instance, as you would as like Soldier 76 or somebody. So, I mean, it opens up other issues when you're just trying to solo queue a team game.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the same time, I
yeah.
would say if you are looking to rank up in that, look at the heroes you have high win percentages on. Play those. Try and
Fair
make
point.
sure.
Yeah.
Try and make sure that you can play. And we've said this multiple times before. Try and make sure you can play at least one or two heroes of each role well at a decent win percent. But don't just pick a hero because it's meta. Do not do that. That is the easiest way to entrap yourself. If your first pick, they didn't pick Reg, and you're not a good Ragnaros, but everyone's like, pick Ragnaros. It's going to be much better for you to pick someone that you are good at that can fill the same role as Ragnaros than it is for you to pick Ragnaros. You'll
And they
have
might
a
chew you
much
out for
higher
it,
chance to win.
which is lame, but
I mean,
do it.
that's
I
just
agree.
the thing, right? That's what you need to do, and that's going to give you the best success chance of winning. As far as Team League goes, I'm pretty big on the change because they have added another additional set of people that can play together. Because before we had solo, duo, and 5. Now we have solo, duo, trio, and 5, which is
Right.
pretty cool because that allows a whole new subset of people to play in Team League. Yes, Team League is probably from an MMR perspective not near as tight as it was before, but there's such a smaller population before that I don't feel like we've lost that much. So I feel like we've almost gained more just because more people are playing it and more people are queuing, and so that gives the matchmaker more to work with. Will you get wonky matches? Yes, you totally will, and I've seen them. But for the most part, I think it's a net positive.
Yeah. And we did get a few more questions. Not gonna be able to get to them tonight. I did want to mention Dave had sent us one in that wanted to wish us congrats on the 100th episode. I can't talk. It's that time. We're going later. Speech is going out the window just per usual. So we thank you a lot for that. And it has regards to do with Murky right now, and we will have to get back to you on that once we figure out the answer to your question, because right now it's nuts. And then
I almost think like we need to do another Murky episode.
yeah, maybe if
I
they
think
don't
we
nerf
will.
them,
I think it's a big enough. I think it's a big enough change that it could definitely warrant another Hero of the Week
for sure.
For sure.
for Murky.
And then
Can we do a 2-parter episode again?
yeah.
No.
And then
No, we
Tech Shell. I had told you guys somebody was talking about the Korean meta, and he had asked us what we thought about the Korean meta with the 2 support, 2 assassin, and a specialist with mainly Zigar and Hammer, and what we thought about it. Again, I haven't watched, but I thought it was great. I think it's crazy, and I'm really intrigued to see.
I'm gonna try and watch some Korean games this next week, so we can answer that next week.
And I'm
There
really
may be something to it because they're starting to, even in NA, become a meta of where you just kill the tank anyway. Like you take characters that are good against them and just burst them down. So there may be something to it, but yeah.
I am more interested in what is going to happen at the World Championship when these metas collide, because that's going to be nuts.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, crazy. Multi, to wrap things up here, where all can we be reached?
Oh, we can be found in-game by typing /join space LOTS, or you can join our Discord, which is sticky to the top of our Twitter, which is at Lords of the Storm. We're on twitch.tv/Lords of the Storm live Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Central. We're also on facebook.com/Lords of the Storm podcast. You can email us with feedback or questions at lordsofthestorm@outlook.com. If you want to help out the show, there's a couple ways to do it. You could leave us reviews, certainly, like Jay Brewer did. Thanks, Jay. So like 5-star iTunes, I think that one was, and just any positive stuff really helps us out and makes us feel good. But just, leave us your feedback, of course, as well. And of course, we have our Patreon, patreon.com/Lords of the Storm, where if you're able to give any amount at all, it's a huge help in ways we just don't frankly take enough time to express to you guys each week, but we could not appreciate it more than we do. Yeah. So thank you.
And all that stuff just goes directly back in towards the show here.
Oh yeah.
So it helps us to bring a better show to you guys, and we appreciate that. You can also,
I tried buying ketchup with it, but they didn't let me. They did not let me.
You can also find us individually. You can find me on Twitter at GizmoZord, as well as Twitch, and also on Convert Trade Presents, the Battle.net News, the World of Warcraft podcast. Also featuring everything else Blizzard on the latest and greatest in the universe. Multi, where can you be reached?
I'm on Twitter at Multizord, and I'm also on that show called The Cavalry, which is about Overwatch, and it's on Twitter at The Cavalry Show.
And TBK?
You can find me on Twitter at TBKZord and twitch.tv/TBKZord, where usually every Monday night I cast Chair League games, which is a ton of fun. And the last 2 weeks have been incredible. Both went to sets of 3. So if you like that recreational league, definitely check that out on Mondays.
For sure. We want to give a special thanks to our patron producer, Ouroboros Sword, for helping to support the show. We really appreciate it. I also want to give a special shout out to our very own TBK Zord for hosting our stream right at the end of the show here. Really appreciate that. We'll see you guys in the Nexus next week.
Shout out to you.
I'm dying. Oh, sickness.